uh, vistas. Okay, the new part for you, what is vistas and all that. So when a plot is such that it faces a road which meets the road on which the said plot is situated, it fetches more value. Now, what are the vistas, or the thing, the part which is totally new for you? So when a plot is such that it faces a road, that is road front, road facing plots, okay, which meets the road on which the said plot is situated, okay, on which the said plot is situated, that we called it as a vistas. म्हणजेच काय तर बऱ्याच वेळेस असं होतं की एखादा नवीन रस्ता आहे, ठीक आहे, आणि हा नवीन रस्ता जो आहे, हा नवीन रस्ता तुम्हाला एक विस्टाचं सिंपल एक्झाम्पल सांगेल. मी ड्रॉ करतो म्हणजे तुमच्या लक्षात येईल विस्टाज म्हणजे नेमका कसा प्लॉट असतो तो. ड्रॉ ओके, हा ठीक आहे. सपोज अज्युम करा इथे तुमचं घर आहे, ठीक आहे, इथे घर आहे, असा एक रस्ता जातोय, ठीक आहे, असा एक रस्ता जातोय आणि प्लस जे तुमचं घर आहे हे एक्झॅक्टली घराच्या सेंटरला असा एक इकडे रस्ता जातोय, ठीक आहे. म्हणजेच काय, तुमचं हे जे घर आहे ह्या घरापासल्या रोडच्या तुमच्या घराचे जे फेसिंग आहे, फ्रंट फेसिंग आहे, रोड फेसिंग आहे, प्लस दुसरा एक जो नवीन रस्ता आहे, हा रस्ता एक्झॅक्टली तुमच्या ज्या घराच्या एक्झॅक्ट समोर समोर येतोय, ठीक आहे. सो इफ द युअर प्रॉपर्टी इज लाईक दिस, इट विल फेच मोर बेनिफिट्स, it will fetch more benefits, and this is we called it as the vistas. Okay, this we called it as the vistas. Okay, these are nothing but these said plots which faces the roads and which meets the road on which the said plot is situated. म्हणजे ज्या प्लॉट वरती हा प्लॉट इथे सिच्युएटेड आहे, एक नवीन रस्ता इथे मीट होतोय, हा तुमचा ओरिजिनल जो काही ट्रॅक असेल, मग हे कशाही पद्धतीने सुद्धा काय प्रत्येक वेळी असंच लोकेशन असलं पाहिजे असं काही नाही, ठीक आहे. बऱ्याच वेळेस असं, आणि असे कॉर्नर प्लॉट्स जे असतात याची व्हॅल्यू खूप जास्त राहते, कारण दोन रोड्स तिथे मीट होत आहेत, इथे मध्ये जरी कुठं असेल, ठीक आहे, मध्ये एखादा प्लॉट आहे, असे प्लॉट्स आहे, या प्लॉटला याची फ्रंट फेसिंग जाते, ठीक आहे, याची फ्रंट इथं असेल तर इथं फ्रंट फेसिंग येते, आणि हा एक प्लॉट आहे की याला हा पण रोड फेसिंग आहे आणि हा पण रोड फेसिंग आहे, ठीक आहे. हा, इथे एक महत्वाचा पॅरामीटर जो असला पाहिजे तो तुमचा डोअरचं लोकेशन, ठीक आहे, कशा पद्धतीने आहे ती. बेसिकली वी आर गोइंग टू मेंटेन द प्रायव्हसी ऑफ युअर होम, ठीक आहे, अँड दॅट यू नीड टू फोकस ऑन, बट इट विल फेच मोर व्हॅल्यूज. ओके, सच प्लॉट्स वी कॉल्ड इट एज द विस्टाज. त्याला विस्टाज असं कन्सेप्ट म्हटलं जाते. ओके, then nature of soil and the tanks, the nature of the soil, whether it's black cotton or hard murum you are having, okay, what category of the soil you are having, that will totally dependent. Okay, now the important parameter that I am going to describe with you is nothing but the belting method of valuation. Okay, let me check where it is. mm, then we will go for the valuation on the rating purpose. Okay, valuation goes on the rating, or at first we will cover up that and then we will go for belting method. Just give me a minute, I just want to check whether where it is. Okay, okay, first of all we will conclude this part and then we will proceed towards the uh, belting method. Okay, how the belting method is there and all that. So valuation for a rating purpose, that is the next part. Now we are coming to the closing the syllabus also. Okay, just few points are left. Hmm? And then we will practice some problems, problems of which are related with the valuation. Okay, which may be likely to be asked in your online examination. And theory part you have to do it, because as far as the specialty of second section is considered, valuation, you are having more theory part, and some new terms are there. Okay, everything you have to remember, because there are, as I said earlier, there are 15 types of the values. What is capitalized value, what is book value, so any definition comes and you will get four options in front of you. The definition is of book value, but the options are book value, salvage value, scrap value, market value. Definition of market value, again you are having four options, so you need to remember all the definitions. Okay, as far as section 2 is considered, you are having more definitions, types of values, types of rents. Okay, then types of the contracts. What is contracts? Percentage rate contract, fixed contract, types of tenders, tender documents. Okay, so everything in on as far as second section is considered from unit number 5, some more theoretical part is there. The definitions are more, so you need to focus on that also. Okay, as far as your MCQ online test is there. Hmm? So please don't think that the exam will be very simple for you, because in MCQ examination, nothing is predicted. Everything comes from the syllabus, but on which point they are going to keep more focus, or they are going to keep focus, we can't predict that also. Okay. As I said earlier, some definitions are there, so you need to prepare good way, in a good way, for all the definitions. You can prepare some charts also. Okay, handouts also. Types of values, these are the types of value, and these are in single word you can describe their meaning. Types of tenders, types of contracts, then different kinds of methods. Okay, then different methods for depreciation, their formulas in single sentence or single word also you can define that, so it will help you to prepare for the examination. Okay, and I will take a good practice of yours, don't worry about that, we are having plenty and sufficient time for doing that. Again, with the problems also. Okay, so next method that we are going to proceed. Uh, Before proceeding, if you are having any doubt, please ask me. You can put it in the chat box also. uh, Very interesting question somebody asked me. Uh, the question paper, it may be any exam you are going to give in the future or previously you have given. It is already been set up only through the university. Okay, no college is going to set the examination. University will set the paper as you are writing the paper in your conventional way, na? Offline exams. In the same fashion, university will set the paper. University person will set the paper. Okay, so we can't predict who is the paper setter and from where it is been there, how from where the question is there. So valuation for the rating purpose. Rate has been defined as the public charges equally assessed on the property. I will share this soft copy of book also. This is the best book for the second section. Okay, it is available in the hard copy is available in our library also. Anywhere you will get. I have the soft copy. That is why I have directly taken. And all the notes, all the questions, definitely all the questions will come from this book, as well as BN Datta book is there. Okay, only two books, not more than that. BN Datta book is specially designed, I can say, for estimation purpose, the problems basically, bar bending schedule, the estimate of the building and all that. But for the section 2, this is again the best one for you. So you just go with the two books, Quantity Estimation by BN Datta and Estimation and Valuation by Chakraborty, Charotar Publications. Okay, if you refer these two books only and you go with that, uh, you will score more in your examination. Okay, so rate is nothing but the public charges which are assessed on the property and are applicable to the local purposes for the public nature. Okay, so methods of assessing the rateable value of the property. Our first is rental method. We have completely described that. Then comparison method and capitalized value or profit based method. Profit based, again, that is related with the lodges, hotels, or the some cinema theaters where profit is there, margin of profit is there. Okay, so some part we have discussed already in this particular methods. Just we will take a recap of that. So rental method, in this method, the actual rents paid by the tenants are adopted, and the best and most direct method for accessing the rateable annual value of the property. Okay. Now you just need to collect the rent, collect the gross rent, then from the gross rent deduct the outgoings, derive the net rent, and net rent multiplied by years purchase, you will get the value for your particular property. So that is rental method of valuation we have already discussed. Okay, then comparison method. In the comparison method, this method is used when a building is erected by the owner and not for letting purpose, म्हणजे भाड्यातत्वावरती न देता, and not ordinarily let. The rate of letting of comparable premises are applied to the premises in a question so as to arrive in the annual rate. Basically, in the comparison method, what we are going to do or we supposed to do is nothing but we are going to give the our building on the rent, but before giving it on the rent or before letting it, त्याला लेट टू लेट असं तुम्ही बऱ्याचशा दुकानामध्ये वगैरे पाहिलं असेल, दुकानावरती लिहिलेलं असतं टू लेट. ओके, LET. लेट म्हणजे परत भाडेतत्वावरती देणे किंवा भाड्याने देण्यासाठी हा शब्द वापरला जातो. ठीक आहे, बेसिकली जे कमर्शियल शॉप्स तुम्ही बघू शकता तिथे लिहिलेलं असतं टू लेट. टू लेट म्हणजे ते भाडेतत्वावरती द्यायचं आहे. म्हणजे भाडेतत्वावरती देण्यापूर्वी तिथे आसपास काय भाडं आहे, कशा पद्धतीने आहे, तुम्हाला ॲन्युअल रिटर्न किती मिळू शकतो, प्रॉफिट कन्सिडर करून ह्याचा अभ्यास करून मग ते कंपॅरिझन करून तुम्हाला ते दिलं जातं. ठीक आहे, भाडेतत्वावरती. Capitalized value, in the case of the comparison method, 5% of the volume value of the property is generally charged as the annual valuation of the property. Over this valuation, value of the percentage of the tax is applied to calculate annual taxation. And profit based, that is related to cinemas, theaters, and hotels. Already we have gone. Okay, because here rent is not matter. Okay, in the profit based, rent plays very short role, I can say, in the profit based method. जिथे तुमचं हॉटेल चालतंय मग ते हॉटेल 20 वर्षापूर्वी असेल तर त्याला भाडं कमीच असतं. ठीक आहे, प्रॉफिट बेस्ड मध्ये आपण आपल्याकडे वी आर हॅव्हिंग द बेस्ट एक्झाम्पल और दादाज कॅन्टीन. ओके, ओके, इफ यू कन्सिडर rent, the reasonable rent is there for that particular area of the canteen area, but profit, as you can see, in the others country you will get the good quality of the food material, so obviously there is a, what can I say, he can fetch more rent, sorry, he can fetch more benefits from the crowd which has been there. Okay, so basically as far as your cinema, theaters, hotels, or some places where rent is not going to play bigger role. Okay, because your profit is more than your expected rent or whatever the rent that you are going to pay. Okay, if your return is more, it doesn't matter with the rates. That is totally based on the profit based. Okay, so say examples you can do as cinema mall, cinema theaters. Now yesterday our government has got one resolution that 50%, based on the 50% capacity you can start your cinemas or theaters. Okay, so in the upcoming days you can see our theaters are going to run. Okay, with 50% of the total capacity. If capacity is 100 or capacity of 100 people, 50 people can accommodate over there, but with by taking all the proper care and everything. Otherwise, again, there is a big chance to increase this pandemic situation in India. Okay, so I left that part. So that is all about some important points related with this valuation concept. I just want to share one form with you, that is how the valuation is been there. Okay, uh, just give me a minute to share a new screen. Mm, okay, just a minute. I will check that where it is. Then I will come to you. Property depreciation, methods of quantity, straight line methods. This table we already have studied. Huh? Some problems are there. Problems we will discuss. Types of rental method we have covered up. The important formula is capitalized value equals to net rent minus into years purchase. Net rent is nothing but gross rent minus outgoings. Okay, speciality of rental method. Then land and building based, that is nothing but Present value of the property equals to cost of land plus depreciated cost of building. Profit based, again same concept, capitalized value equals to net income into years purchase. Development method, yesterday we have gone through that, development of buildings and hypothetical building schemes. Okay. Now belting method here is there. Valuation method for open land. Comparative is there, hypothetical is there. So factors which are going to consider: situation, size, shape, frontage, width, vistas, nature of soil, we have discussed. Okay. Valuation procedure. Uh, okay, this is one part. Just to give short idea, this is not, I can say, practice to use with these steps only. Okay, for the from doing the valuation. Okay, just a few, for it will just give some idea how to do the valuation procedure. I will come back to do that, but before that, yes, the method which is left from our discussion point is nothing but the belting method, and that we are going to discuss right now. Okay, the types of rents we have considered. Okay, belting method. Okay, now this is the diagram. Definitely there will be a MCQ of 2 or 3 marks there. It may be weightage or 1 or 2 marks um, for this particular method, belting method of valuation. Okay, now what is this belting method and how it is been there? We will have some discussion about that. Now you can take this screenshot also of this diagram. Okay, how the belting method is there and how the calculations are there based upon the belting method. Hmm? As far as this belting method is considered. So what you are going to see, if you see the diagram, this will be the road. Okay, road is there. Okay, and here is your land. Somewhere here is your land. Okay, you can see the dimensions which are been there and how the land is been divided for the open land. First belt, second belt, and third belt. Okay, belt is nothing but the sections. Okay, first section, second section, third section. Okay, so in this fashion this particular land is been divided. Now how it is been there? Okay, so when a plot of a big size, please listen carefully, when a plot of big size is to be valued, or when a plot with less frontage and more depth is to be valued, it is logical to adopt the method of belting. So when we are going to use the belting method, when the plot size, we are having a plot but with having the less frontage, as you can see the frontage, that is the first belt, we are having the less frontage and more depth, and more depth. So it is logical to use this method, that we called it as a belting method of valuation. Okay, so it is due to the principle that the value of the land in general decreases as the plot increases. Okay, generally it is due to that principle that value of the land generally decreases as the depth of plot increases. Okay, the main problem facing that valuer while adopting this method is to decide the depth up to which maximum land value may extend, and from that, the whatever the point which has been there, from that point onwards it starts declining or diminishing. Okay, now basic focus, we are having the less frontage and more depth. Okay, as far as belting method is considered, we are having the less frontage and more depth. So if the value of the land, definitely it goes on decreasing if the depth goes on increasing. Okay, depth of plot goes on increasing. Okay, so in this method, instead of estimating the average rate of land, the plot of the land which is under the consideration is divided into the number of zones or the sections and the or the belts we called it as, and the rates of these lands are estimated from each section or each zone, from each section or the each zone. Okay, so directly rather than deriving the whole cost of this land, what we are going to derive, we are going to derive the cost of first belt, cost of second belt, cost of third belt. You can call it as belt, you can call it as a section, or you can call it as a zone. Okay, basically we called it as a belts. Okay, but which plots? Please keep the thing in the mind, the plot having the less frontage and more depth. Okay, ज्याला आपण असं म्हणूया, जो मी पूर्वी शब्द वापरला होता, एका बाजूला रुंद आहेत आणि दुसऱ्या बाजूला असे निमुळते होत चालतात. ठीक आहे, एका बाजूला रुंद आहेत आणि दुसऱ्या बाजूला असे निमुळते होत चालतात. मग अशा केसमध्ये असे जे प्लॉट्स असतात, असं काही नाही आहेत, खूप सारे प्लॉट्स अजूनही आहेत आणि यापूर्वी पण होते आणि भविष्यातही अशा जागा निघू शकतात. ठीक आहे, कारण आपल्याकडे लँडचं डिवायडेशन काही इक्वल नाही आहे. ठीक आहे, कसे पण तसं डिस्ट्रीब्युशनच नाही ॲक्च्युली. शेतकऱ्यांची जी शेत जमीन आहे, ठीक आहे, हे शेतजमिनीमध्ये कुठेतरी कोस गेलेला असते, कुठेतरी कॉर्नर पडलेलं असतंय, कुठेतरी ती नदीचा जसा फ्लो असेल किंवा एखादी रिव्हर पास होते, ओढा पास होते, तशी ती रिव्हर, तशी ती लँड हे झालेली असते, शेपअप झालेली असते. ठीक आहे, मग तशा केसमध्ये ही बेल्टिंग मेथड खूप फायदेशीर राहते, जिथं फ्रंटेज कमी आहे आणि त्याची डेप्थ जास्त चाललेली. ठीक आहे, सो as I said earlier, again I will repeat. In this method, instead of estimating the average rate of land, the plot of the land which is under consideration is we are going to divide it into the different belts, and then we are going to derive the value of each belt. Value of each belt. Usually, these plots are divided into the three belts. Generally, the depth of the first belt near the road is suitably adjusted. The depth of second belt is 50% more than that of the first belt. Okay, the depth of second belt is 50% more than that of the first belt, and depth of third belt is kept more than 50% than of the second belt. Okay, so depth of second belt is 50% more than first belt, depth of third belt is 50% more than second belt. Okay, the next point as far as this method is considered, you can see this value v1, v2 is v2 third of v1, and v3 is 1/2 of v1. Okay, here that is the rate of the third belt, 3/4 of v3, 3/4 of v2, and 3/4 of v1. Okay, this particular section, this part, only this part, only this part, only this part, and here these depths are given. Okay, now considering the size, shape, location, and various other factors affecting the rate of the land, which is estimated, and that is to be taken for the first belt. Okay, considering the size, shape, location, and various other factors which affects the rate of land, we have to consider it for the first belt. For the second belt, 2/3 of the rate of the first belt is taken. Okay, so value of the second belt is 2/3 of the first belt. या फर्स्ट बेल्टची जे काही व्हॅल्युएशन असेल, म्हणजे या फर्स्ट झोनचं जे काही व्हॅल्युएशन निघेल, सेकंड बेल्टची व्हॅल्यू 2/3 ऑफ फर्स्ट बेल्ट, अँड थर्ड बेल्टची व्हॅल्यू इट इज टेकन एज वन हाफ रेट ऑफ दी फर्स्ट बेल्ट. ओके, it is been there. These are the standard dimensions. Okay, standard digits which are been there. These three, and these three. Okay, then this belting method is definitely treated as an artificial method. It should be applied in the deserving cases only. Okay, now as far as this belting method is there, just 10 minutes are left. Okay, we can conclude that also, and then from tomorrow we can go with the problems also. Okay, So the important point that should be keep in the mind as far as this belting method is considered. First is nothing but the depth of the front belt. Now this is your frontage. The road is here. Okay. So first point is nothing but depth of front belt. There is no general or uniform rule which can lay down for deciding the optimum depth of the front belt. Okay, it will totally dependent on the various factors such as the location of the property, then suitability for the development and zoning regulations. Okay, so whatever this total depth we are having, b1, b2, b3, b1, b2 is nothing but 1.5 times of b1, and b3 is 1.5 times of b2. So these are the parameters which are required for the depth. Okay, which are required for the depth. So for the first belt, there is no rules and regulations to decide the optimum depth for that front belt. It will totally depend on the various factors like location of the property and suitability and your zoning regulations. Then division of the plot, second point that you should must understand. If the plot of the land is suitably subdivided into the or by the internal means of the approach roads, which are laid down by the bylaws of the local authority, the application of this method is not suitable. Okay, so if any road is passing like this, okay, if any road is passing like this, so by the rules and regulations, if it is possible for you to divide that land into the equal parts, if it is possible for you to divide the land into the equal parts, then you should not go with the belting method. Okay, that is not suitable in that case also, if you can easily cut it down into the different sections. But what happened, as I said earlier, our land is like that, it is not exactly in square or exactly in rectangular portion. These are having some irregular areas or irregular shapes at some point, and there you will find it difficult to make the valuation or to make the division. Okay, then again one more point that you need to consider as far as this belting method is nothing but the sufficient data. As I said earlier, this method is exact perfectly suitable if you are having all the data. If sufficient data is not available with you, then don't go for this belting method. Okay, otherwise you can go with the belting method if sufficient data is available with you which shows values of your land according to the distance from the main road. Okay, if you are having the record of values of the land from the, that is from the main road, then you can go for this method. That means what, again I will explain with a simple example. Now this is the plot, here is your road. Just tell me one thing, here the road is passing here like this, huh? Vehicles are moving like this is your first plot, this is your first plot. You can fetch more value to the first plot. Why? Because this first plot is very close to the road. Okay, it is having the front facing. But if you consider the second plot, okay, if you consider the second plot, do you get the same value as that of the as you are getting for the first plot? No, definitely you will get the less price. Why? Because the distance is going to be increased. Here one plot is there. Again, if you take the example for the third plot, again this particular value of the land will goes on decreasing. Why? Because your plot is situated at a longer distance from the road. Okay, it is situated at a longer distance from the road. So again, you need to keep the thing, these things also in your mind as far as this belting method is there. Okay, and last point which are important for the belting method is nothing but this method is full of the assumptions. Okay, unless it is skillfully used by the experienced value, it may give you the incorrect and unreliable results. Okay, so as I said earlier, it is full of the assumptions. The value of the first belt is if you are going to consider it as a V1, then value of the second belt is two-third of the V1, and value of third belt is one half of the first belt. म्हणजे इथं जर 1 रुपया असेल तर इथं 75 पैसे आहे आणि इथं ते 50च पैसे. का? कारण रोड सरफेस इथं आहे. एक लक्षात घ्या, रोड सरफेस इथं आहे. पहिला प्लॉट रोडच्या जवळ आहे म्हणून इथं 1 रुपया मिळतोय. दुसरा प्लॉट थोडासा लांब आहे म्हणून इथं 75 पैसे मिळाले या प्लॉटसाठी, कारण रोड सरफेस इथं इतकं मध्ये डिस्टन्स आहे. तिसरा प्लॉट इथं आहे, इथून एवढे डिस्टन्स आहे म्हणून इथं 50च पैसे मिळत आहेत मला. ठीक आहे, हा व्हॅरी होतोय म्हणूनच मी सांगतोय. मग इथला जो कॉर्नर आहे ना, हा कॉर्नर पीस, ठीक आहे, याला कोण असं म्हणूया आपण आपल्या लोकल लँग्वेजमध्ये. ह्याचा रेट किती आहे? रेट ऑफ द फर्स्ट बेल्ट 3/4 ऑफ V1. मग हा जो पोर्शन आहे, हा जो दिसतोय तुम्हाला ट्रँग्युलर पोर्शन, याचा रेट किती आहे? 3/4 ऑफ V1. हा जो V1 आहे, इथं जर 1 रुपया असेल, याच्या 3/4 म्हणजे किती झालं रे? 25 पैसे. बरोबर आहे? यू कॅन कॅल्क्युलेट दॅट. ओके. So rate of this belt is 3/4 of V1. Rate of second belt is 3/4 of V2. इथं V2 जो काय रेट असेल, या ट्रँग्युलर पोर्शनचा हा रेट आहे 3/4 of V2. ठीक आहे. त्यानंतर जो थर्ड बेल्ट आहे तुमचा, त्या थर्ड बेल्टचा पण रेट त्याच कंडिशन मध्ये येणार आहे, 3/4 ऑफ V3. म्हणजे इथे 1 रुपया असेल तर या कॉर्नरचा तुमचा रेट 75 पैसे जातोय. इथं 75 पैसे, तर या 75 पैशाचा परत 75वा भाग इतका रेट भेटणार आहे. इथं जर 50 पैसे असेल, या 50 पैशाचा परत 75वा भाग इतका रेट इथं मिळतो एवढ्या पोर्शनला. ठीक आहे, हा जो पोर्शन आहे कोस याला म्हणूया आपण. ठीक आहे. बेल्टिंग मेथडची खासियत मी परत एकदा सांगतो. बेल्टिंग मेथडमध्ये आपण काय केलेलं आहे, इट इज टोटली फुल ऑफ द अझम्पशन्स. पहिली गोष्ट मी क्लिअर करतो, जर रोडच्या लगत प्लॉट असेल तर हायर व्हॅल्यू भेटणार आहे. आणि ही बेल्टिंग मेथड सुटेबल कधी आहे? ज्यावेळेस तुमचा फ्रंटेज हा कमी आहे आणि डेप्थ ही जास्त आहे. फ्रंटेज कमी आणि डेप्थ जास्त, अशा केसमध्ये तुम्ही बेल्टिंग मेथड वापरू शकता. वापरण्यासाठी अझम्पशन काय, तर रोड सरफेसला जो व्हेरी क्लोजली प्लॉट असेल त्याचा रेट हा तुमचा V1 असणार आहे. रोडच्या पहिला प्लॉट सोडून दुसरा प्लॉटचा रेट जो असेल हा 2/3 ऑफ V1 म्हणजे पहिल्या प्लॉटचा रेट असणार आहे. त्याला किंमत किती भेटणार आहे? 2/3 तृतीयांश त्याचा रेट असणार आहे. आणि तिसऱ्या प्लॉट, त्याच्या शेजारी जर प्लॉट असेल त्याचा रेट तुम्हाला, म्हणजे जसं सांगितलं, इथं जर 1 रुपया असेल, ठीक आहे, इथे जर 1 रुपया असणार आहे तर इथे तुम्हाला 7 पैसे सर त्याचा किंमत भेटते आणि इथे त्याला 50च पैसे किंमत भेटते तुमच्या प्लॉटला. ठीक आहे. जर तुमचा पहिला प्लॉट इथं आहे, दुसरा प्लॉट इथे, तिसरा प्लॉट इथे, आता असं अजून करा, तुम्हीच मालक आहात ह्या तिन्ही प्लॉटचे. पहिला प्लॉट तुमच्या रोडला जोडून आहे, दुसरा प्लॉट थोडासा लांब आहे, पहिल्या प्लॉटमध्ये येतो, आणि तिसरा प्लॉटच्या मध्ये 2 प्लॉट आहेत. मग पहिल्या प्लॉटला तुम्हाला 1 रुपया मिळाला, दुसऱ्या प्लॉटला तुम्हाला 66 ते 60 पैसे भेटतात आणि तिसऱ्या प्लॉटला तुम्हाला 50च पैसे भेटतात. हे कशावरती डिपेंड आहे? दिस B1, B2, B3, हे डिस्टन्स जे आहे, डेप्थ जे आहे, ही जास्त आहे. बिल्टिंग मेथडची खासियत काय? फ्रंटेज लेस, फ्रंटेज मोर डेप्थ. ठीक आहे. आणि ही व्हॅल्यू किती आहेत मग? हे स्टँडर्ड डायमेन्शन आहे, हे बदलत नाही, हे अजम्पशन्स आहे, स्टँडर्ड अजम्पशन्स आपण असं म्हणू शकतो. आणि हा जो कोर्स आलेला आहे कॉर्नर ट्रायंग्युलर, याचा तो रेट दिलेला आहे 3/4 ऑफ V3. म्हणजे इथं 50 पैसे असेल, 50 पैशाच्या 3/4 भाग, इथं 60 पैशाचा 3/4 भाग, इथं 1 रुपयाचा 3/4 भाग. ठीक आहे. नाव दिस इज all about the belting method of valuation. Okay, now still if you are having any doubt, you can ask me, you can put it in the chat box. Meanwhile I will start to take your attendance. I'm happy that today around 50 students are there. If you are having any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, I have noted your attendance.